Welcome to the Osmo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal EMAC coming to you with one Adam Ship, my money share, as we get ready for some Thursday MLB action brought to you by Yahoo, the gamer's site of choice. If you don't want to pay management fees at least once a day in their management fee free contest, $3. It spawns for MLB right after lock the night before, and it has limited seats, so you definitely want to jump in there. If you've not yet signed up for Yahoo, use the promo code OSMO and come in on our link. That link can be found in the third paragraph of the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article written by yours truly, which is usually near the front of the Osmo content page. You can always click on baseball articles and you'll find it, because I generally post it the night before, just so you guys have something to look at. It'll be free. The instructions and the link are in that third paragraph. Adam, talk to me. We got a semi-split slate here. We've got Mike Trout being Mike Trout in a seemingly endless series because he's going to be going against Clayton Richard in Toronto.
Yeah, another really, really good spot for Trout, coming off of at least 2 home runs on Wednesday night.
It's crazy. So we'll have to see. They'll probably troll us and give him a day off before they head out to St. Louis on Friday. In the meantime, there are 2 early games, so just real quick, and then we're going to go through the main slate. We'll go pitching. But to cover this really quickly, it's Cleveland at Texas. It's Colorado at Arizona. The roof will be closed in Arizona. You have 3 decent pitchers, and you have Jeff Hoffman. So the clear-cut play that everybody will be doing is to go against Jeff Hoffman. He's got 5.1 implied run total facing him for Arizona, but that's not how you win some of these slates. You may be better off just trying to pick the best individual or duos from each of the teams that you can get and hope you work out that way with the points and nobody really goes off. The other game has Shane Bieber and Mike Minor. Both those guys are really good pitchers, or at least very talented. Minor coming on late with his late career resurgence, and then Shane Bieber coming with the heat, with the fire. It's going to be 91 at first pitch in Texas. This will be 1 o'clock local time, and you have a 4.8 implied run total for Cleveland, 5.3 for Texas. So it's a mixing and matching day. We should see some runs scored. So hence my speculation that perhaps trying to attack Jeff Hoffman may not be the best choice because it is the most obvious. Now on to the main slate where we're going to turn Adam loose here. Let's start off here with the Houston Astros in New York. A little bit of potential rain there. We have Framber Valdez going against the opener, Chad Green. I have not seen who is coming in next yet for the Yankees. Let me see here. Chad Green and Chad Green. They have not yet announced anybody. So we'll see. I'll see if I can dig that up, Adam. But go ahead and take this one on.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously not looking to roster an opener here against the Astros, and not really looking at Framber Valdez either. Tough matchup against the Yankees. He's a decent pitcher, but nothing special. And you have basically an entirely right-handed lineup, or an almost entirely right-handed lineup that has tons of power now. Encarnacion in the lineup. Did Stanton get hurt again? Because he's not in the projected lineup I'm looking at.
Not that I am aware of, but I have not looked at any of the box scores from earlier today.
So yeah, maybe Stanton, maybe not Stanton, not really sure, but either way, tons of power in this lineup. Gary Sanchez, obviously, Aaron Hicks, Torres, I mean, just top to bottom, right-handed power, so not looking at pitching on either side.
All right, let's get on to the next one. The Nationals theoretically are going to play whether it rains or not. You have Nick Pivetta and Steven Strasburg. If things have mostly sorted themselves out, it looks like they're not doing the double header. This one is 7:05. It is in Nationals Park as they wind things up. They do play week before the end of the season back in Washington, so I'm guessing that one they may have been when they scheduled the doubleheader from or the makeup game from Wednesday night. Nick Pivetta has cleared his head, Adam. He took the path of John Gray and has been better since time in AAA. He has, 4 starts with a 2.7 ERA. So there you go. That's courtesy of the MLB starting lineups page. On the other side, you have Steven Strasburg, who was just gobsmacked in his last start, allowed 4 home runs. Now, only 6 earned runs, but the 4 home runs was not good. And people were, I was watching on Twitter and in various Slack chats and other things that people kept saying, oh, it was too hot. It was too hot. I actually had the game on. It was 84 that day in Washington, D.C., and he was not visibly sweating. When it's 94, he is visibly sweating.
Yeah, 84, that's not a real thing. That's not a real thing anyway if you look at his stats over his career.
So there we go. What do you want to do here with Pivetta? Do you believe he has fixed whatever flaws he had from earlier this season?
I would like to, yeah. Definitely take some more digging into, but Pivetta is an arm that I've always believed in, and I think he has really, really good stuff. So I'd like to believe that he's legitimately improved. This is, of course, a difficult matchup going against an almost fully healthy Nats squad, but he hasn't exactly had easy matchups since coming back from the minors either. Faced Atlanta, faced the Dodgers. He's been really good. So at his price tag, I think that he is still a viable option. There's plenty of upside for him at 8,200 on DraftKings. There's downside as well, but talking tournaments, specifically, I still like Pivetta here.
All right, looking at I almost said Mike Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton. He did not play on Wednesday, so perhaps he was getting a day off, and maybe sites have not caught on to put him in the projected lineups page just yet, Adam. Just yet. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll see if I can scrape up any other news with regards to the former Marlins slugger. Our next game here, let's cover it in a little bit more detail. The Anaheim Angels are in Toronto taking on the Blue Jays. This is the final of their 4-game set. You have Jose Suarez going for the Angels. Now, he has not gone super deep in the games, but he is relatively stretched out. So guessing 4 or 5 innings would be decent for him. Clayton Richards probably won't make it 4 or 5 innings, but that's because he's going to allow too many runs. What do you want to do here with either of these hurlers, or is this all about the bats for you?
All about the bats for me. Suarez is just really expensive, and you still have very reasonably priced power bats on Toronto that I'll be interested in. And then Clayton Richard, going against a right-handed heavy lineup that does not strike out a lot. All the Mike Trout, all the Justin Upton you can get. Albert Pujols, a good play as well. Really just about Angels bats and some Toronto power.
All right, just looking for Stanton. No news, so I'm assuming he just may have gotten the day off in this one, and we should see him on Thursday unless something breaks, or he news-wise, not body part-wise, but I guess body part-wise would have the same result there. Continuing, let's see. Do they talk about? Nope, they just they talk about Chad Green embracing his role as an opener. Okay, well, there you go. That doesn't help me with who's coming in after him. Continuing along here, Adam, let me get back to the right page. Hey, speaking of the Marlins, we have Adam Wainwright, who has been oft injured this season. He is 7,500 on DK, going against Zach Gallen, is how I'm going to pronounce his name. Do you know anything about Gallen?
Yeah, one of the Marlins' top pitching prospects.
They've got more?
Yes. Or top prospects overall, rather. He was part of the Marcell Ozuna trade with the Cardinals. He has been really good at AAA this year. He's made 14 starts, thrown 91 in the 3rd innings. He has struck out 33.6% of hitters while walking just 5.1%. He's also got a 46.2% ground ball percentage, which is pretty good for, especially for a guy that has the strikeout stuff that Gallen has. So I am really, really interested in him here. The Cardinals obviously have had some struggles, but they're still a talented lineup. But it's an affordable price tag, and I don't think there's any question that this guy has upside and has looked legitimately good.
Right, and then on the other side, one Adam Wainwright. He has been, I think he's coming off the DL yet again. Yes, he has a hamstring injury. It looks like. Hold on. Yes, so he just missed 1 start. He will be coming off the 10-day DL as long as he goes through clean with tests before they activate him. In his last start, he went 70 pitches. He had, when he hurt himself, the game prior to that, 126. Perhaps he tried a little too hard in that game against the Cubs. Any interest in Wainwright? Let's assume 70 to 75 pitches against the Marlins.
It doesn't really seem necessary. It's not like he's a really cheap price tag. If he's going to be limited, then I don't really see a reason to get there when you have someone at virtually the same price that has better strikeout stuff anyway and isn't going to be limited.
All right, let's continue on here. We've got, about 7 more games. The Mets, the Cubs, another name that does not jump off the board at me. Walker Lockett, though I do know he's been up, I believe, as a reliever at some various points. On the other side, Tyler Chatwood. Chatwood checking in at 4,600, Adam. Because he is sub 5K, I have to ask, it's a matchup against the Mets. We do have a 6 to 8 mile an hour breeze coming in there from left field in the Windy City. No implied run totals just yet because, of course, for Chicago, they usually do those morning of. Any interest at all for Tyler Chatwood before we talk about Walker Lockett?
I mean, I would have some at that price tag, but he threw 53 pitches his last time out in 2 2/3 against the Rockies. That's the most he had thrown since May 22nd when he threw 62 pitches. It looks like his high since the start of May is 68. So not really stretched out and not really good either. The Mets also not a bad offense. So most likely won't really get to Chatwood.
All right, I'm just cruising over here to see what we've got with Mr. Lockett. So he has bounced around in the minors for, let's see, 8 seasons. He has gone from rookie ball all the way up to AAA. He was part of the Padres organization. He is now with the Mets and has been for the last couple seasons. He did make an appearance, or a couple of them actually, last season for the Padres. He made 4 showings, started 3 games, actually ended up finishing 1 there towards the end of the year. 15 innings pitched. Here's the punchline, Adam. 16 earned runs. Why, yes, that is an ERA over 9. Wow. What would you like to do with Mr. Lockett?
Not roster him. He's not. I mean, he's only like on DraftKings, which, you know, on the 2-pitcher sites, that's the only place that you're considering it anyway. He's 6,800, whereas, you know, Gallen is 7,300. On Yahoo, Lockett is 26, Gallen is 28. There's just no way I'm not playing Zach Gallen over Walker Lockett.
All right, that's pretty impressive to have 4 showings and above a 9 ERA. Wow. Continuing along here. We have Tanner Roark going against one Jimmy Nelson. So this one is in Milwaukee. You've got Tanner Roark with 4.4 implied run total. He is 6,500 on, or let me rephrase that. He is facing Milwaukee with 5.3 run total. He is 6,500. Jimmy Nelson going against the Reds. Reds have a 4.4 implied run total here. Here are some of the notes that I have written up here for Tanner Roark. Let's see. I said I was a fan of having Tanner Roark on the Nationals as he was a solid number 3 pitcher for several seasons. However, his skills have started to decline. He will be 33 years old the week after the season ends. He usually got by with relatively good location, and his mistakes more often than not were timely. But recently, since the beginning of last year, the hard hit and fly ball rates have continued to inch up, along with the walk rate. Strikeout rate wasn't really great to start out with, going backwards a little bit, and then when you consider that the league is going in the opposite direction as well, on the whole, as Tanner Roark, I'm not really excited to look to him, even at the $6,500 price point. The Brewers we should look towards Yelich, Moustakas, Grandal, Eric Thames, and Travis Shaw if that latter duo is in the lineup, though they have been batting a little lower in the order when everybody is fully healthy there for the Brew Crew. So I'm anti-Tanner Roark. I'm not really excited about Jimmy Nelson. Do you want to tell us anything differently for these pitchers?
Nope. Really tough spot for Roark going into Milwaukee to face, you know, all this left-handed power. So really not interested there. Jimmy Nelson, mildly interesting, but still, you know, not convinced that he's completely right. He's made 2 starts. He's thrown a total of 7 innings. He has struck out 21.6% of hitters. He's walked 16.2%. The walk number particularly concerning because he was walking a lot of guys at AAA too. So again, I'm just waiting to see Jimmy Nelson actually appear to be right before I really go there.
All right, let's continue along then. We have one Jake Odorizzi in Kansas City taking on the Royals. Hey, this matchup feels familiar because they just had it. back in his last start. That was on Saturday when Odorizzi allowed 4 runs, 2 home runs to the Royals. He did coax 7 strikeouts from them. Strikeout numbers have been dramatically up here this season for Odorizzi. He has 85 in his 76 and a third innings pitched. He's coming in at one of the more expensive options once again, Adam. How do you feel about Odorizzi as one of the top 3 priced options on the various sites?
I'm not particularly interested. He's been really good this season. There's no question about that. But I don't totally buy into him being this. Actually, I don't buy into him being this good at all. I think that he's good, but not in this price range. His zone contact percentage is just way below his career averages. I expect that to increase, which would take away some strikeouts. Also, his home run per fly ball percentage is really, really low. I expect more fly balls to become home runs. He has like a 1.9 earned run average. His left on base percentage is going from memory, I think 12 percentage points higher than his career average. There's just a lot of stuff that points to regression for Odorizzi. Not regression as in he's going to suddenly be bad, but regression as in he's not worth an almost $11,000 price tag.
All right. On the other side, as best I can tell, looking at a couple sites that do not have a listed starter, and then 2 do say Glenn Sparky Sparkman going for Kansas City. Let me go back to Sparkman's totals here. Now, remembering when I talked about him on Saturday, I did say your price per pitch would be somewhat intriguing. Let's look at what happened. He did go 88 pitches. Of course, he only allowed 2 home runs, 2 walks, 5 runs total, 4 earned. He made it 5 innings. I really don't see the need to go to him on this slate, Adam, in this matchup. Any thoughts? Because again, sub 5K on DK. I would have 0 interest in him on Yahoo.
Yeah, I have no interest.
All right, let's go look at the Yahoo pricing real quick down so we can give some perspective on the bottom dwellers. You do have Nick Pivetta at 25. That, if you are a believer, is reasonable. You've got Chatwood, Sparkman, who, we're not really excited about. They're at 25. Walker Lockett, 26. Clayton Richard, 27. Wade LeBlanc, 28. Zach Allen, 28. That's the name you're going to want to go to and remember. And then if you want to roll the dice, perhaps a Madsen Bumgarner, Framber Valdez in that range. Oh, actually, there's another guy we'll talk about in one of our last games that I'm looking forward to getting your take on. So let's continue on. We are now on the 10 o'clock slate. The Minnesota Kansas City game was the last of the 8 o'clock games. So if you were playing on the main slate, you will have quite a break before those other games start. So it's going to be a late night. Perhaps we will see Oakland score 16 runs again as the late night hammer, Adam.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Okay. It's Charlie Morton. It's Frankie Montas. Feels like we can look towards the pitchers here. Morton, one of the top 2 price guys on all the sites, right up there with Odorizzi and Steven Strasburg. How do you want to rank that trio, since Charlie Morton is the third of that group we're going to talk about here?
Not really in love with Morton. He doesn't tend to go that deep into games. Oakland doesn't have a ton of strikeouts in their lineup. Very right-handed heavy, which is actually the worst side of the split for Morton. He's still good against them, but it's just not the ideal matchup. So I would have Strasburg as the number 1, but this in general, this is a slate where I think I'm probably not going to be paying up for pitching a ton.
All right, then going to the other side, he does carry a 5-figure price tag. That's Frankie Montas. We have, let's see, Houston coming in with a 4.1 implied run total. Oakland has a 4.0 implied run total, 62 degrees at first pitch, 66 to 8 mile an hour wind going out to dead center there. If you look towards, let me see here, why is he not on this side? Who does DK have? Sorry, riveting. There he is, 10,100. I guess I should filter on today's starting pitchers if I wanted to know that. So he's coming in as, let's see, top 3 price pitcher on DK. He is 4 on Yahoo. He is 4 on FanDuel. Feels like a lofty price point for Mr. Montas to earn. I know you have some thoughts about him. Let's talk about him in general and then talk about him with the price point.
Yeah, I like him here. He has one of the I think he's been one of the most improved pitchers this season. He added a splitter coming into this year. He's been throwing it a lot, particularly to left-handed hitters, of which there are going to be a lot in the Tampa Bay lineup. He's got a higher strikeout percentage against lefties for that reason this year. It's a good park, although, the foul territory does play down the strikeouts a bit. But, you're getting him at a discount compared to Odorizzi and Morton and Strasburg. So I'm actually really interested in Montas, even though he is expensive.
All right, 2 more games to go here. We have San Francisco in Los Angeles. This one should be fun because Madsen Bumgarner gets a chance to go against Max Muncy again. And Adam, if Muncy hits one in the ocean from Chavez Ravine, that would be something special. What do you feel about Bumgarner now that he's going to have his dander up going against the Dodgers? Tough matchup, tough price point, in my opinion, with the exception of he could be in play on Yahoo there at 36. But DK at 92, not really interested. And then 84 on FanDuel, no thanks, outside of the 3-game late slate.
Yeah, I mean, tough matchup, not a great price point outside of Yahoo, and absolutely a non-zero chance that he gets ejected his first time through the order. I mean, I'm not one to like really ever bring stuff like that up, but that's how it is. Muncy, it would be surprising if Muncy doesn't get hit. It's just a matter of the umpires,
if it's a warning or if it's an ejection.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's how Bumgarner is. You just go back and look at the history he had with like Yasiel Puig. He doesn't forget stuff. He goes about it that way, and it would be pretty surprising if nothing at all happens. So it's, I guess, like a legitimate risk. If I really like the spot, it wouldn't deter me from rostering Bumgarner. So if you really like the spot, then go for it. But I don't really like the spot anyway, and that's not doing anything to make me feel better about it.
All right. On the other side, an intriguing name. It's Julio Urias, who's coming in, as the opener. Very sad. He's 8,000 on DK. He is, he is minimum on Yahoo, and then FanDuel, that doesn't really matter. I don't think he's going to go more than 35 pitches, 40 at the outside. Adam, it just makes it not really exciting to talk about him from a pitching perspective. He's worked out of the pen this season. He does generally go for multiple innings, but he sort of caps out in that 35 to literally 40 pitch range. Any interest at all in him? Or I guess a better way of saying it is, do you feel that lessens the impact of an already lessened impact for the Giants hitters getting maybe 2.5 innings of Urias?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to roster Urias, assuming he's going to throw like 40 pitches. He is a good pitcher, and I wouldn't be rostering the Giants anyway, so it's just kind of a no-go everywhere.
All right. Here's my intriguing, and he is in my placeholder lineup. It's the one and only Dylan Bundy going against the Seattle Mariners, who are now without Mitch Haniger in one of his ruptured testicles. Ouch. Let's all cringe for a moment. No Jay Bruce. He is now with Philadelphia. And no Edwin Encarnacion. He is with New York. Yet somehow they do still have some power in the lineup there with Vogelbach, Domingo Santana coming off a 2-home-run day on Wednesday. Kyle Seager trying to roll back the clock after missing a large portion of the beginning of the season. But he is definitely still, at this point, just Corey's brother. Talk to me about Dylan Bundy at 7,600. This feels like if you're going to take a chance on him, it's the ballpark and it's the matchup to do so.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because, the ballpark's fine, and I think Bundy does have strikeout upside for his price point. He has the 7th highest strikeout percentage on the slate if you exclude Chad Green, and, he's priced in the mid-range. But the one issue I have, at least looking at Seattle's projected lineup, is that they have 6 left-handed hitters. And while Bundy has surprisingly not given up a lot of power to lefties this year, he really hasn't been striking them out at a high clip. He has struck out around 30% of righties. So I would prefer it if Seattle ended up getting a couple more righties in there. But even if they are left-handed heavy, I think you can get the Bundy just, as a pretty decent mid-range guy. But if there are a couple of extra righties, it would make it a spot that I'm like actively seeking out instead.
Okay. And that's a fair point because you're right. Omar Narvaez should be in the heart of the lineup. He's sort of the de facto cleanup hitter along now with Vogelbach, as there's no more Encarnacion or Jay Bruce or Haniger, or Haniger's due back at some point. But the other guys, I mean, Kyle Seager, what does he have, like a 180 or so ISO against righties in the last couple seasons. D. Gordon, more or less non-existent. Malik Smith, surprisingly, I think he has 6 or 7 home runs on the season, which was more than I thought he would have. when I looked that up the other day, but I'm not really terrified of him. And then J.P. Crawford, not really worried about him either. So I'd be willing to take the chance here. We'll have to see how things shake out. We'll have to see where the popularity lies. But something to at least consider in this particular matchup. 60 degrees and in, what are they? T-Mobile Park now. On the other side, last pitcher of the night, Wade LeBlanc. Wade LeBlanc and Mike Leake have been doing, I don't know, some smoke and mirrors shows here for the Seattle faithful. They have been getting by on guile and tricks. That's got to stop at some point, right, Adam? I mean, both aren't both of them due for just some ass kickings between now and the end of the season?
I mean, LeBlanc has a 6.2 ERA, so I think that might have already been happening. But
hold on, let me go. Oh, you keep talking. When did that happen? Did he have a multi-home run game recently?
As far as I can remember, he's just been getting lit up like every time he pitches.
Last game, 6 runs against Oakland. That was not good. But prior to that, they started using him as an opener, or pardon me, as a closer, or whatever you call it, probable long reliever. Two runs in 6 innings against the Angels. 1 run in 8 innings against Houston. 3 runs in 5 innings against Texas, and then 4. I guess I just chose to target against him with LA and with Houston when he somehow managed to give up 3 total runs in 14 innings against those guys.
But yeah, so I mean, no strikeouts really, no walks, but not a good pitcher. The Orioles aren't a good lineup, but I'd be more inclined to be looking to some cheap Orioles bats that'll let me get to whatever pitching I want, as opposed to going to LeBlanc.
All right, with that, we got you through the lineup, hit on all the highlights. You, of course, will have the DFS strategy show. That will be Thursday morning at 9:15. Go ahead and check that out. We will have live before lock, the hour before the lock at around 6 o'clock. And then you, of course, will have the deeper dive. That will go off around 5 o'clock, taking you up into the 6 o'clock hour. So we've got you covered with 3 more shows, plus the deep dive article behind the paywall. You've got spotlight hitters, pitchers, and stacks in front of the paywall, and a few other goodies for you. But if you have not yet tried out Osmo, definitely check it out. The ownership projections are probably worth the subscription in and of themselves, but you also get some other premium content, projections for all the sports, literally ownership, I think, now for almost every sport except tennis. At this point, they just beta launched the WNBA. If you are into that alternative basketball action, now that once the NBA draft is over, they'll cool down the hot stove league for a bit. But with that, we're going to get on out of here. Check us out. Promo code EARLYBIRD, all one word, 50% off any 1-month package. You can find Adam on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. I am at EMACDFS, and of course, it is Osmo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.